Hi everyone, today I'll be doing my refutation speech on the topic of plant-based diets that was formerly presented by Elizabeth. She's not here today, so it's kind of awkward, but so Elizabeth Alexander has stated the following, that a plant-based diet leads to a healthy lifestyle. And maybe most of you guys are planning to go vegetarian or vegan, or already are. But let me save you the trouble and explain to you the negative side of vegetarian plant-based diets. Okay, so let's see. For example, the nutrients that a person is missing while on a strict vegan or vegetarian diet, according to nutrients you're missing if you're vegetarian or vegan, is as follows. Zinc, which is used for stunt growth, diarrhea, and slow wound heal. Vitamin D, which is essential for strong bones, bless you, because it helps the body to use, strong bones because it helps the body use calcium from the diet. Iron, which is red blood cells that carries oxygen from your lungs to transport it throughout your body. And omega-3 fatty acids, which keeps your immune system strong. Another study, according to Sheldon Lynn, The Negative Effects of Vegetarianism, states that vitamins B12 helps your body produce red blood cells. However, this vitamin occurs naturally in animal products alone, so following a strict vegetarian diet can put you at risk for a deficiency, as well as increase your risk of developing anemia. Other signs of B12 deficiency include numbness, fatigue, diarrhea, nervousness, or shortness of breath. Now you might be wondering, what is anemia? Is it just like a small cough or like a fever? But it is not. According to the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, anemia is a condition in which your blood has a lower than normal number of red cells. If you have anemia, your body doesn't get enough oxygen-rich blood. As a result, you may feel tired or weak. You may also have other symptoms such as shortness of breath, dizziness, or headaches. As to the statement that Elizabeth Alexander has provided towards the cancer, where she stated that a plant-based diet will reduce the probability of getting cancer, is in fact a false statement. According to are plant-based diets harmful? It states that Steve Jobs, a raw food vegan who ate primarily fruit and fruit juice, developed a pancreatic cancer. High amounts of fruit sugar found in fruits and fruit juices can cause stress to the pancreas, whose job is to regulate the blood sugar by secreting insulin. Robin Gitt of the Bee Gees, another famous vegan, died of stomach cancer at the age of 62. In fact, stomach cancer is highly among vegans, and recent studies have linked to a low consumption of B12 to colon cancer. He was colon as in stomach cancer. He was a long time vegan and a spokesman for the animal activist group PETA. Eva Ekvel, Miss Venezuela, died of breast cancer at age 29. George Harrison, part of the Beatles, died of lung cancer, and the list goes on. If being vegan is in fact gonna stop you from getting cancer, then why are there so many people getting cancer, so many vegetarians getting cancer and dying from that? Elizabeth has also stated how plant-based diets will lessen the chance of getting diabetes. In support of that statement, she stated that she started talking about how 1/3 of children and 2/3 of adults are overweight or obese. However, she did not mention the diet that those people were consuming was directly connected to meat. People often assume that meat-free diet means automatically healthy. However, that's often not the case. You can live on potato chips, cookies, candy, and soda and still be definition by a vegetarian. By definition, a vegetarian. Many vegetarians, newbies, aren't sure what to eat when they cut out meat. They munch between meals and meat-free snacks, food that provide a lot of extra calories, which can lead to weight gain. Ironically enough, these vegetarians miss out on the benefit of becoming a vegetarian and fall short on nutrient-rich foods like fruits, veggies, whole grains, and plant-based protein sources. According to Nutrient Lies That Made the World Sick and Fat, a massive review from 2010 that looked at data from 20 students with a total of 1,200,380 individuals revealed that unprocessed red meat has no significant association with either cardiovascular disease or type 2 diabetes. Other studies that included hundreds of thousands of people agree with this. So, being vegetarian might be a good thing. There's a lot of health benefits, but it also might kill you one day. Thank you.
All right, well, you identified the advocate's claim and the secondary points pretty clearly. You went right after the argument about healthy stuff on the first point, presenting counterclaims on a lack of nutrition from having a vegetarian diet, which is primarily a plant-based diet. That makes perfect sense. You've listed the things that people need to have that you can't get from the plants. That's pretty straightforward. The whole explanation of anemia is pretty good. And so, that's a drawback. Now, that's a drawback that's a generic drawback to plant-based diets. I'm not sure it's specific to anything that the advocate talked about, but in the long run, it's a good rebuttal argument. The cancer issue, on the other hand, did come up from the advocate, and you go after that also fairly directly. Your response here is a little bit more problematic. I think that you've got something that's very persuasive. You point out a whole bunch of celebrities who ate primarily vegan diets who ended up with cancer, and the idea that they're going to be healthier because they're having this kind of diet seems at odds with what happened to them, and that is true. However, of course, we have no way of evaluating this from a statistical perspective. We don't know. I mean, there are lots of celebrities in the world. I don't know how many of them are vegans, and I don't know how many of the vegan celebrities got cancer. We don't have any of that. You've just got the example. So drawing a generalization from this is a little problematic. Because they're high-profile people and you can point to it, it's a good way to kind of at least raise the question. I think it would be a little bit stronger if you could find some statistical information that showed, for instance, that there's no link between meat consumption and cancer, or that the links are very thin. The ones that do exist, there's no discussion of what the advocate's evidence was on those particular points. So there's not really any reasoning analysis of what information they used, and not any challenge to the evidence they presented. You're primarily relying on counterclaims for your arguments. Rebuttal arguments, that's basically what we're doing. Remember, we talked about the difference between refutation and rebuttal, and so mostly what you've got are rebuttal arguments, but I think you're missing the opportunity to have other things that you could put into the argument that would make your rebuttal arguments stronger, because you would weaken the arguments that they're going to be contrasted to, and we don't really get that. I thought that the one piece of evidence that you had at the end, I think you step on it a little bit when you're presenting it, because you need to practice reading it a little bit more clearly. You mentioned how many people participated in the study, and at first it sounds like you've got 20 kids, and then it turns out that it's 128 million. Anyway, the information seems to suggest that all of these studies found that there's no relationship between meat consumption and cardiovascular disease and diabetes. And since diabetes is the issue that the advocate's talking about there, I think that's a pretty good response. The cardiovascular disease is like a bonus sort of thing. The advocate, I don't think that they mentioned that. Maybe they did, and you're not telling me that. But if it is true, then you have an answer there as well. So the thing I like most about your argument is that you've got good rebuttal claims. The thing I think is a little problematic is that you're not engaging the advocate's arguments much. You're just kind of finding the counter arguments on those points. And I think if you do a combination of those things, you'll have a stronger argument. All right, thank you.